Good evening, everyone. Evening, afternoon. It's been a very long time since I posted, and as the link says, a big part of what I do is to share what I have been through / going through, to kind of help you with what you're going through, because one thing that I have really realised recently, especially after the last retreat that I went on at the weekend, the breathing one, is that we are all going through stuff, and no one's really exempt from that. It's just sometimes it's less and other times it's really extreme. So I really hope that by sharing where I'm up to and just kind of saying hi, just helps you to check in with yourself, and maybe you'll get some aha moments, maybe you will make some decisions, or maybe you'll just feel understood and heard, and you'll notice that I am a little bit breathy at the moment as well, and that's due to something that I've been triggered by recently and I'm working on. So if you tend to experience anxiety on a physical level, you can have anxiety of the mind, you can have anxiety in the body, you can have both, then you'll relate to that. And I've got some tips that I've been doing coming up. But yeah, it's been an interesting year and a half actually. This all started at the Lionsgate, August 2021, when me and my partner decided to separate, and we were separate for like a year, but it took us, we started talking in January and we decided finally, I think June, to reunite after really checking if it's really what we wanted. And we'd got over, that whole kind of codependency, and we'd been on in very strong individual journeys. So when we came back together, it was like an integration of how we are now with ourselves, how we are with each other, and how we are as a unit. And it's mind-blowing, actually. It's mind-blowing. And the kindness and the gentleness that has been restored as a result of that. So, as some of you know, have been, some of them still ongoing, working through, three of the biggest relationships in my life. And the closest relationships, especially the youngest, when we're young, are the ones that really impact our lives. And unless we actually go there and look at that, then every single relationship that we have going forward is impacted by those inner child experiences from a very emotional, mental, and what I found out recently, a very physical level. Way more than I thought, but something that I had been playing around with the idea. So for example, when I get really stressed or anxious, I feel it really here in my chest, and it's like I just want to physically remove it. And I just knew that there was something. As a hypnotherapist, I'm very much, of course, about the mind. I can't stand the fact that my hair's all freaky. It's like, very much about the mind. A little bit about the body, a lot about the emotions and stuff like this. And I've been going, there's something more. There is something more that I'm not quite, I don't know what's going on here. I'm not quite catching in terms of my healing, and I've been drawn to breath work, deep healing for a long time, and I'll come back to that. But anyway, what happened was, it came around to July. I'd been working with a corporate company on a contract, and that came to an end. And as it did, and I was gifted the financial support to just go, I need a break. For the first time in, I don't even know if ever, going from corporate straight into running my own business, working through COVID, I was like, I think I'm going to give myself furlough. So I was like, I'm taking August off. And then it was coming to the end of August, and I was like, I need more. So I gifted myself September, I gifted myself October, I'm still gifting myself the time, and I don't know when. I've obviously done and I'm doing a couple of charity events. That feels different. I did do the September retreat, which I absolutely loved, and right bang in the middle of my healing, so very, very raw, as I am today. And my head's still not there. I'm very, very fuzzy and very, I should probably turn my notifications off. Very breathy, as I say. I'm very foggy, I'm very unclear, I'm very vulnerable, which takes a lot to do alive when you feel like that, but I am facing being brave as well. So initially you think to yourself, I'm going to take some time off, I'm going to do what I want, I'm going to read, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do... And on the surface, that's like amazing. And people think, oh gosh, you know, I wish I had the time to do that. I'd love to be able to do that. I spent a lot of time with Isla, did a lot of shows and things, which was amazing. But then nursery came to an end because Isla had got to an age where she was ready for school, and we were looking at different options for school, which I'm happy to say has now been sorted, which I'll come back to. But it had gone from having my 20 hours. I was only ever having 20 hours anyway. I was never able to work full time. I was having my 20 hours and they were gone. And I kept saying, that's okay, that's okay. I'll just be a full-time mum. I'll be a full-time mum. And that'll be a really nice thing to do for my daughter. But I was really started to struggle because I didn't know what I was doing from day to day. I didn't know what Isla was doing from day to day. I didn't have that guaranteed time for myself. So I was off work, but I wasn't resting because I was a full-time mum, which is actually way harder than working, especially if you love what you do. So I was like, okay, this is not working anymore. And on the surface, outside looking in, and like a lot of social media suggests, is that, oh, you're having some time off, you're doing all this stuff. But I have been battling. I've been battling and resisting doing nothing. And then I allowed myself to do nothing. I went on 2 retreats as well, which was amazing. But I was like, I kept stripping it back. I was like, I've stripped away corporate. I've stripped away doing any kind of work whatsoever. I've stripped away the guilt of doing nothing as such. But I'm still not feeling it. I've stripped away any blame. So from the childhood stuff, from my partner, from all of that. So what remains? I think you already know the answer. Myself. So there's something going on inside why we can't feel 100% happy. And the more you strip back, the more it bubbles up. And that is why I do believe that a lot of people keep themselves busy, because we're too scared to see the darkness that is part of us as well. So at one point I thought it was about ritual, and I do think that that is part of what I need to do as well for my next chapter. I need to be really strong in the way that my boundaries are set, and that I know what's good for me and I stick to it, and I've got the habits. Like I got myself into exercise, I've been doing more meditation, I've been doing more gratitude, things like this. I've been doing more movement, really looking after myself, enjoying cooking, doing the retreats and stuff like this, building these healthy habits. But there was something still not quite hitting the spot for me. And so when nursery stopped, and then I had Isla at home all the time, I knew I needed another option. I needed to strip it back again. So what I did was I once again was drawn to the breathing, and the timing was just spooky, really, because I suffer with something called PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoria dysfunction, which means that when you have a cycle leading up to your cycle, and mine is sporadic, so I can't even really determine when this is going to happen. It's one of the symptoms of PMDD. I have like 4 periods a year. Is that it's really stronger. It's a stronger feeling than your general PMT, which is bad enough, let's face it. But it's very, very self-deprecating, and it takes over. And you can get to some quite dark places depending on what's gone on that month and what's going on. And as it happened, so many things aligned at the same time, like a week last Saturday, and It was something really triggered some old wounds for me. And I was feeling the grief, and I was feeling the sadness, and I was feeling the heaviness on my chest, and the physical. As I say, I'm struggling to breathe at the moment because I'm just coming to the end of this. It's been nearly 2 weeks. It all came to a head, and the weird thing was it came to a head just before this breathing retreat that was going on, and I was like, I don't want to go. It was 6 hours drive, and I know that sounds crazy, but it was a specific retreat that I wanted to go on. I was very drawn to it. And I was anxious. I had no confidence, to speak about myself. But I can tell you that it really, really worked with the physical body, and it allowed me to just not work with the mind for a little bit. Sometimes we do a lot of analysis paralysis, I call it, but it was pure body. So with the breath work, and pounding music, actually, very tribal music from so many different countries, it's almost like it reminds you of a place that you've forgotten, and it reminds you that culture and community used to be such a big part of our healing. And especially when the women sang in the song, it was like, it's something that I feel that we miss. And it also reminded me of why I do things in groups as well, to bring that healing, because it almost like, there was people, you make noises, you have movement, you have involuntary body movements. It's very out there, but because other people are out there too, it gives you permission to just let go and let the body heal itself. So whatever is being triggered physically in the body, when you breathe through it. So for example, there was a lot of noise at one point, and my whole body just like tightened up, and it was like I needed help. I needed a facilitator to come over, and my body just tightened, and I couldn't release it. And it was like my body's response to fear. And what I found is that I hold my breath. I hold my breath so much more than I thought I did. And it's like giving myself permission to breathe. So one of the things I got out of this was that just checking myself through the day. I've stopped breathing again. And I'm taking these huge breaths because my body's tightened. It tightens up around my neck. It tightens up around my back. So the being around other people, the healing, the understanding that you're not alone, the song, the movement, the breath is all part of it. And it's not always necessarily through the mind that we can heal. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm really drawn to dancing at the moment as well. And that's a whole other story, a whole other journey that I've been going on this year. It's bringing up so much stuff, around confidence, about body, around who am I to stand up in front of people and entertain, and oh my gosh, there's so much more to say. And I can't talk too long because I'm going on a date night soon, and the date night is we're jumping on trampolines. I'm trying to bring more fun in. I'm trying to bring more joy, and this was one of the messages that I happened to have on the first breath work that we did. It just came up into me, and it sounds so obvious, but when you marry the mind and the heart together, it's like a rewiring right there. And it was, you're always joy. Actually, we are always joy. It's only the fact that we decide to just throw in some problems. And most of the time, the problems that don't even exist, they just exist in our mind. That's destroying our opportunity to receive joy. And when I was going through my breath work, I was saying, I can't let the joy in. I can't take the breath, because I feel if I take a deep breath, that I will feel the peace and I'll feel the joy, and I don't feel like I deserve that. And so part of the process was allowing that joy in. And on the second day, when I finally let go and brought myself into this breathing experience, at one point I was hysterically laughing, and it was from the feeling of joy and peace. But big part of me was still resistant to even make that noise, to even laugh, at fear that I was going to, that someone might think I was laughing at them, instead of just being in that moment of pure joy. So there's more work to do around it. But when I came back, it didn't get rid of the feeling like someone sat on my chest, because that is a primal, that is it's not primal, it's a learned reaction that I have got as a trauma response. And I now need to rewire my physical response, as well as I've been working with rewiring my mental response or my emotional response. And there's your mental and your emotional is connected. It's your heart. I want to keep my heart open while having the boundaries. And so when I got back, I still felt it. But the difference was, and if you get this, it might be helpful. When I went into bed and I couldn't sleep, because insomnia has been a big part of my past and it's just reared up again, I'm not beating myself up for it. I am hearing it. I'm really hearing it and feeling it. I'm really talking to that inner child, or what I would to a friend. And the first night, the mantra that worked for me when I came home was, your strength is bigger than your struggles. And I just repeated it over and over. And that worked for the mind. It was like, your strength is bigger than your struggles. It felt like more of a mind-based insomnia on the first night. The second based insomnia was the palpitations. And so instead of feeling like what I always want to do, which is like beat myself, either physically or mentally, instead I just took a breath and I said, I hear you. I hear you, and I know there's more that you want to say to me, and I'm not sure what that is yet, but I love you. I'm here for you. Take as long as you need, and I'm here. And that really helped too. The third night, it was more of a cortisol. So the stress obviously is built up in my body. So I went back to, the ashwagandha. I went back to deep breathing apps, inhaling for 6 and out for 8. And I walked around in the fresh air, encouraged by my partner to do so. And I went back to all my old techniques, all my tools that I share, and I applied them and they worked. So I guess my point here is there is no straight answer for whatever you're going through, and things will trigger you from time to time. It's just about finding what works for you. It started me thinking again now about the things that I offer, and wondering when I'll be ready, and starting to think about that and what kind of quality I want to bring to that. Certainly a sense of not being alone, a sense of kindness to yourself and kindness to others, and understanding that we're all in pain in our own ways, but we have moments of joy as well, and giving you permission to be you completely in that healing community. So I don't know yet. I don't know where I'm going with it all. I don't know what's next for me. What I do know is that I need more time to just be, and to feel my way through without any deadlines. And I'm still so grateful for this opportunity. The dance thing, it's in 2 weeks. I'm still battling with how I feel about my body. I'm seeing myself and really trying to work on seeing myself through other people's eyes, the way I see the beauty in other people, and to see that in myself. And that makes me feel a little bit emotional, because it's it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. And I get it. Dancing in front of a mirror by myself, hiring a dance studio to go dance by myself, to practice in front of a mirror. I think that's big progress. So what I want on that night, what I want is to actually enjoy it. Is that asking too much? To actually go and genuinely enjoy it. And that is my ultimate aim. And I'm writing it all down as I do. I'm writing all my experiences down to hopefully one day be a really good guide for you too in this. So whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing, however dark it gets, other people do too, and it always gets better. And you've always got your people. Just speak and trust yourself, and that's it. There is no finale tonight. It's just me blabbing the way that I blab, without any plan, but knowing that I have to set off now. I have to go. So I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you did leave a comment, it's not popped up. Maybe you didn't, maybe you're just casually watching in the background, that's fine. Sometimes Facebook doesn't show comments, but if you did, I will reply. Thank you always for your support, for just being there in this community, and sending lots of healing vibes to you. We've got this.